I've lived long enough to watch medicine change 3 times. First it was the plants, then it came in bottles. Now it comes with side effects longer than the cure. I am 98 years old. My joints still carry me. My skin is thin, yes, but it never tore apart the way others did. My digestion works. My mind is clear enough to remember what most people forgot. And when doctors ask me what I take, I tell them the truth. I don't take anything. I ate. I grew up in a village where no one had a pharmacy within walking distance. If something hurt, you didn't wait for a pill to arrive. You pulled something from the ground, or you boiled something your grandmother left drying by the fire. It wasn't called medicine. It was called food. We didn't have names like anti-inflammatory or antioxidant. We had names like the bitter one, the one that makes you sweat, the root my mother chewed when her back hurt. And we used them not because we were wise, but because we had no choice. I didn't know I was building my body for a century. I thought I was just eating. There were 5 roots I grew up with. I didn't eat them because I wanted to live forever. I ate them because they were there, and because the elders before me never stopped using them. The first one we called the golden finger. You might know it as turmeric, but we never called it that. We pulled it fresh from the ground, peeled it with our thumbs, and chewed it raw when our stomachs burned or our gums bled. It stained everything. Our hands, our teeth, the bowls we mashed it in. My grandmother used to say it cleaned the blood. I didn't know what that meant as a child, but I noticed that the people who ate it regularly aged without swelling. Their knees didn't balloon. Their faces stayed sharper, longer. Modern science later found something called curcumin inside it. They put it in capsules now. They charge for it. But it doesn't stain your hands anymore, and I wonder if that matters. Because when we ate it fresh, we didn't just swallow a compound. We tasted the bitterness. We felt the heat. Our bodies responded to the whole thing, not just the active ingredient. The second root was sharper. We called it the one that bites back. You know it as ginger. We grated it into hot water every morning, not because we liked the taste, but because it woke the body up from the inside. If you had a cold, you drank it until you sweated. If your stomach refused food, you chewed a slice of it raw until the nausea passed. I watched my father eat it before every heavy meal for 60 years. He never bloated. His digestion never slowed. When I left the village years later, I saw ginger sold in pills, in teas with 20 other ingredients, in candies that tasted like sugar. It had become entertainment. We had treated it like work. The third root smelled like the earth refused to let it go. We called it the dark medicine. You call it black cohosh, though I only learned that name much later. The older women used it, my mother, her sisters. They boiled it in clay pots when their bodies shifted and their nights turned into sweating and sleeplessness. They never explained it to me as a child, but I understood later. It steadied them. It calmed what felt like chaos inside. When I grew older, I used it too, not every day, but when I needed it. And I never had the kinds of problems I hear women talk about now, the hormones that destroy their peace, the medicines that correct one thing and break another. I didn't take it like a prescription. I took it like weather. When the storm came, I used it. When it passed, I stopped. Now they sell it in capsules that promise menopause relief. But the women I knew didn't need relief. They needed rhythm, and that root gave it to them. The fourth root was the one nobody wanted to eat, but everyone respected. It had no sweetness, no comfort. We called it the bitter gourd. You might know it as dandelion root, though we never thought of it as a weed. We dug it up in early spring, roasted it until it turned dark, and boiled it into something that tasted like punishment. But my grandfather drank it every morning, and his liver outlasted everyone else's in the village. His skin stayed clear. His eyes stayed bright. He never turned yellow the way the men who drank too much did. I drank it too, not because I wanted to, but because I saw what it did. It made you need the bathroom more. It made your body clean itself out. And over the decades, I realized my body never felt clogged. I never felt heavy after eating. I never felt like something was rotting inside me. Now they sell liver detox drinks that cost more than a week of food. They add sweeteners and flavors and packaging, but they forgot that bitterness is part of the medicine. Your body is supposed to react to it. The fifth root is the one I miss the most because almost no one uses it anymore. We called it the old man's strength. You call it ashwagandha, I think. The men in my village chewed it when they worked long days in the fields. The women used it when they couldn't sleep or when their bodies felt too tired to keep going. It didn't make you feel like you drank coffee. It didn't make you jittery or fake awake. It made you feel like your body remembered how to rest and how to work without forcing either one. I used it my entire adult life. I never had the kind of exhaustion that people describe now, the kind that no amount of sleep fixes. I never had the anxiety that keeps you awake even when you're tired. My body knew when to move and when to stop. Now they put it in pills and call it an adaptogen. They market it to people who can't handle stress, but we didn't take it because we couldn't handle life. We took it because life was hard, and this made the hardness manageable. I didn't know these roots were special. I thought everyone used them. But when I moved away, when I saw what people were eating and swallowing and injecting, I realized something had been lost, not the knowledge, the patience. These roots don't work in 3 days, they don't work in 3 weeks, they work over years, they work quietly, they don't announce themselves, you don't wake up one day and feel younger, you just realize decades later that you aged without falling apart. And that's not something you can sell because selling requires a promise, a time limit, a before and after. But my body doesn't have a before and after. It just has a long, slow continuation. I didn't avoid old age. I'm 98, I'm old, but I aged without breaking. My skin thinned, but it didn't tear. My joints slowed, but they didn't freeze. My memory faded in places, but I still know who I am. And I think that's because I never tried to stop my body from aging. I just refused to speed it up. Modern medicine wants to fix everything immediately. It wants to stop pain in 4 hours. It wants to reverse aging in 30 days. It wants to sell you the idea that your body is broken and they have the only key. But my body was never broken. It was just alive. And these 5 roots kept it that way, not by fighting time, but by walking with it. I don't tell people what to do. I'm too old to believe I have answers for everyone. But I will say this. If you want to live long, stop interrupting your body. Stop forcing it to feel something it doesn't. Stop correcting it every time it tries to rest or clean itself or slow down. Let it work. And if you're going to help it, use things that have been used for longer than laboratories existed, not because they're magical, but because they've been tested by time itself. I am 98 years old. I didn't try to stay young. I just didn't interfere.